I'm Jon Witterick, and I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about money. I'm going to, what I do say with all my talks is, don't believe anything I say. You know, what I'm trying to do, as much as anything, is just try and make people think. I think Margaret was saying earlier that you know, that they're going to bring in this mind control, brainwashing. Well, I look round, and we're living in a society where people are totally brainwashed. You know, all you have to do is get on the, watch the television, it's almost like, I watched for the first time. I haven't got a television, but I did watch the other day. What's the soap? EastEnders, and I just found it sort of like, it was like being bombarded with negativity. And I was finding it really, because I like to sit at home and listen to Radio 3 and dabble around on the internet and sort of like, try and keep everything as peaceful and serene in my life as I can. And like watching EastEnders, it was like, God, it was like, I just found it was like getting negativity being fired at me, and I was getting quite stressed about it. But anyway, I'm not going to talk about EastEnders or negativity. Another thing Margaret said, which I was going to, and she says, things are going to get worse. Well, I don't see that. I don't see that. I do agree with you that and I also agree with Ian Crane here, because he says, surviving the global, and this guy, whereas I've got absolutely no qualifications to speak to you about money, because I haven't got any qualifications about money. What I understand about money I could explain to a 12-year-old, but because I've got that level of understanding, and also some very good economists like Max Kaiser, who are free of the corporate control, his understanding and my understanding are very similar. However, he understands the intricacies of it. But what I do is keep it really simple. But by keeping it simple, because anyone could get up here with a PhD in economics and waffle on, and nobody would have a clue what they're talking about. And you get economists don't even agree with each other either, which is completely mad. And they also, it's another thing with the brainwashing. They just give you these mistruths the whole time. But anyway, I'm not going to try not to get onto that just yet. So it's my hope that people basically don't believe anything that I say. Okay. At the end, what I will do, we'll have a little sort of question and answer. What I'll do, I'll talk for a little bit, and as people are sort of nodding off, I will stop for a break, and then I'll sort of bombard you a second time, and then we'll finish. And we won't finish too late, because I fancy a pint before we finish. So. Excellent. Right, and the ultimate ignorance is the rejection of something you know nothing about and refuse to investigate. So don't just say, now most people here are here because they're sort of interested or, thinking, right, what's this guy going on about? But yeah, as I say, at the end, if you don't agree with something, if you could save it to the end, if there's something short that you want to say really quickly that's, pertinent to that moment, then say it. But any sort of big questions or anything, it sort of knocks my flow out a bit and I get a bit confused. That was Dr. Wayne Dyer. If you're ever on YouTube, look up Dr. Wayne Dyer, and he's just got some wonderful, wonderful little sort of spiritual nuggets that he comes up with. So, yeah, he's a very clever bloke as well. Okay, whoops, going too quickly. Right, can't work this. I'm on Open Office because I wouldn't pay for Microsoft, and it's got a few quirky little things. So, as I'm changing slides, it might not be quite as professional and slick as I normally am. Alan's seen me before, so he's laughing. So, right, so yeah, what I'm going to do is talk about, try and explain to you a little bit about global finance, okay, but we're going to keep it simple. So what we're going to do, I'm going to look, and it's something that, those of you who've seen me before, I'm going to talk a little bit about monopoly and global banking system. For those of you who have seen it before, I've got some new bits sort of going into it, so it's not exactly the same thing I've done before. But anyway, so, oh dear, there we go, this is the... So, Monopoly, it's still the world's #1 board game. Do you like that? That is the only sound effect you get tonight. Okay, it's the only one. Okay, and yeah, this is the problem, right? And how to win Monopoly, and we're talking about the, taking on the global banking system here by understanding the rules. Okay. Now, when you actually look at the game of Monopoly, it's actually astounding how true it is to real life. The guy that actually came up with it, designed it, I think, in the late 20s, when they had the first of the huge crashes on Wall Street, and and they thought, oh, it's great, because we can pretend we've got loads of money and buy stuff and and get rich, and it was a great escape, if you had absolutely no money whatsoever. But when you actually start looking at the similarity between the global banking system that we have now and the game of Monopoly, it's frightening. And I made a list of the things that, the similarities. And first off, it's just a game. So, some people get a bit upset when they lose Monopoly, but it is just a game. Obviously, in real life, if you're not doing very well, obviously you end up, you lose your house and you end up living in a caravan in the woods or something like that. Or you might just choose to do that. You need a token to play the game. The currency used is just worthless paper. The bank never goes broke. Well, you'll say, oh yeah, but there's some banks that have gone broke recently. Yeah, there are, sort of Lehman Brothers and whatever. However, that's planned, but I'll get on to that. The object of the game is to bankrupt all opponents. To win, you need to know all the rules. And remarkably, the game has to end sooner or later. Monopoly can't just go on and on and on and on and on, because as the money goes more to the one person, it speeds the game up. And so it's unlike chess, which can go on for quite some time, Monopoly, it can go on hours and hours, it might take all day, but it has to end sooner or later. Right, you've got to understand that as far as the global banking system goes, their plan is to take you for every penny you've got. And your plan is to stop them. Okay? So, this is their greatest tool. Okay? It's fear, it's control. At the moment, we've got the cuts. All these cuts coming. And what it is, it's like... I'll talk about... I'm going to sort of like go herring off into like what's going on. I'm going to cover the cuts and the bailouts and things later. But basically, the way you're controlled is through fear. Okay. Now, you need a token to play the game. Now, I'm sure a lot of people here at the BC group know what that token is. So again?
The legal fiction.
It's a legal fiction, yeah. So what's a well, with a Monopoly, you can't actually get on the actual board yourself, and it's only Twister you can actually get on the board and play, or if you play football or rugby, a team sport. But with Monopoly, you need a token. Now, exactly the same thing with a bank account. You, as a living, breathing being, cannot contract with a legal fiction. And a legal fiction is what a company is. It's a group of people. But, I mean, I cannot contract with this chair because it doesn't do anything. It's an inanimate object. And in the same way as Barclays it's a group of people, but it's as far as a legal entity, it's fictional. It's a fictional legal entity. But what they do, well, you know what they do, don't they? Your name on your credit card, where it says card holder name here, it's always in one form, isn't it? Have you noticed there? Capital letters. Has anyone got a credit card here where their name isn't in capital letters? Are you sure? There's 50 quid for anyone with a credit card with their name in title case.
Not with that useless paper money.
I was going to write you AFB. Anyone? No one's got a credit card. Hang on,
Well,